So I'm just going around watering these edges because I don't have the sand, silt, and clay attached to this. So what I've been doing is watering the top of these, but what I'm going to do is come back and add sand, silt, and clay to the edges to connect the creek to the moss. And the reason I had too much sand, silt, and clay in the bottom of the creek at first. So what I did was, to keep it from leaking too much, I'm going to start basically with it not leaking. Now that I know it's not too much coming over, we'll just add this in certain places to connect the creek water to the moss, which then will allow the plants hopefully to connect to the creek. But the reason these plants, these are the Blue Ridge, and they're not doing as well as these over here, the OK and the Jolly Pond and Divine Pine. And the reason is because this is the only spot I didn't bring the sand, silt, and clay up over into the soil. So everywhere else over here, that there's I'd say a tip length. So, you know, maybe from the tip of your finger, the first knuckle up, there's a layer of sand, silt, and clay. The same stuff that's in the creek, at the bottom of the creek. I overlapped it over this and just ran it all the way up. So you can see that this is all sand, silt, and clay. And there's a layer of it coming up over this. And that's the only difference between those two spots. And you can see the difference in growth. And I know that's what it is. And it was a little bit of an experiment on my part. I ran it up all the way up the top of the hill because I was trying to get that moisture to run all the way across the top of the soil to keep it moist. So it was wicking up, but it was wicking up too much, so I had to cut it back. And you can see we're not even connected. You can see where the water is just pulling the rocks down because there's no sand, silt, and clay there. But what I'm going to do now is just come back around and add the sand, silt, and clay to the edge to connect it. And then we'll come over here and we'll add some of that sand, silt, and clay to the top layer of this, run it all the way across underneath the mulch. Oh yeah, I should explain that. That sand, silt, and clay is underneath the mulch. So I ran, before I put the mulch down, I had the sand, silt, and clay pulled up over top of the soil. Then I mulched over top of that. And you can, there's just a huge difference in growth of the plants when they can attach themselves to that sand, silt, and clay and that organic matter that's in that sand, silt, and clay. It's just so much more mineral and so much more nutrient in it. I mean, look at that Divine Pine over there. I didn't think that was going to make it. And look at the other one over there. I didn't think that was going to make it either, but it's tiny, but it's wanting to grow. And then over here is the only spot in this corner. I was just testing it, and it's not anything against nothing against the Blue Ridge genetics at all. These things are beautiful. They're just behind because I didn't add the sand, silt, and clay and organic matter to the top of this section here. So it just shows me the importance of adding that layer to the top of the soil and then putting the mulch on top of that. And it was like I didn't filter it or nothing. I just took it straight from the reservoir, brought it up. There's plenty of videos of me doing that. Brought it up and laid it across the top of the soil and then put the mulch on top of that. And that's the first thing those plants hit when you transplant, and they just take off. They love it. Pretty neat. Go around water. this is what I've been doing just to keep my moss wet and moist, because it's not connected, remember, to the creek right now. But we're going to be connecting it, because look at the grass growing out of the moss right there. It's crazy. Get over there so you can see it. Go down and check our minnow trap, see if we caught any minnows.